All right, so here we are, diving into the third part of Wotan's saga, the Grand Reckoning. And let me tell you, the entire game has been flipped on its head. This isn't about physical battles on solid ground anymore. Nope, we've gone full-on metaphysical. We're talking a war of pure ideas, a clash of titans in the truest sense. And this quote, right here, it is the key to understanding everything that's about to happen. Just picture it, a massive monument, something you think is solid, permanent, and cold. But then, it realizes its core is still molten rock. This one image perfectly captures Wotan's transformation. This is Wotan on the brink of becoming something else. Something dynamic and, honestly, world-shattering. But before that fire reignites, you gotta understand the situation. The world is basically frozen. It's stuck in this massive philosophical stalemate. It's become a battlefield, but the armies are two giant, unmoving ideas, each a monument to a totally different way of seeing the world, locked in a kind of perpetual Cold War. Okay, so this really breaks down the two opposing corners of the ring. On one side, you've got Wotan's Neo-Arcadia. Think of it as a new harsh Olympus, a place built entirely on the power of the will, on creation and constant striving. And in the other corner, you have Mephistopheles' Tower of Inferno, the headquarters of pure negation. And his whole strategy? It's not about fighting. It's about weaponizing boredom, basically. He's betting that if he just waits, the apathy of the last men will be enough for everyone's ambition to just fizzle out. So you'd think these beings are all powerful, right? Well, here's the real kicker. They're not exactly free. In a weird way, they're prisoners of this very conflict, trapped by the roles they've created for themselves. Let's take a look at the inmates in this, well, this cosmic prison. And right at the heart of it all, of course, is Wotan. For all his power, he's called the homeless sovereign. He's isolated himself in what the story calls the seventh solitude, and the very thing that defines him, his incredible will, has kind of turned on him. It's not a source of freedom anymore. It's a relentless, gloomy taskmaster that never, ever lets him rest. Then you have his main rival, Mephistopheles, the Watcher on the Throne. You see, he doesn't need to attack Wotan directly. His strategy is just to wait. He's playing the long game, totally confident that the sheer grind of existence, the endless repetition, will eventually be enough to make Wotan's will just collapse on itself. And just to add another layer to this, we've got Faustus lurking in the shadows. He's called the Carrion King, and he's making an even more cynical bet. He believes that even the strongest will is doomed to fail when faced with eternal recurrence. That terrifying idea that you have to live your life with every single struggle and pain over and over again for all of eternity. Talk about pressure. So you see how all this ties together? It creates what the story calls the God-sized cage. Wotan's prison isn't made of steel bars. It's built from boredom, from repetition, from sheer exhaustion. It's the very trap that Mephistopheles and Faustus are counting on. The stalemate is perfectly, horribly balanced. But a stalemate this perfect, this absolute, it just can't hold forever. Something's got to give. And the thing that breaks it isn't another giant stoic monument. No, it's a lightning bolt. It's the Crimson Jester. And just like that, the moment he shows up, the whole chessboard gets flipped over. This isn't a simple back and forth anymore, not between creation and destruction. A wild card has just been thrown into the mix, and the old rules no longer apply. So who is this guy, this Crimson Jester? Well, he's described with all these fantastic titles. He's the mountain man of self-love, a dangerous and grinning mirror held up to the other sovereigns. And he's a force that bubbles up, not from on high or from the abyss, but from the very depths of what it means to be human. And this, right here, this is his whole deal. He's not here to comfort the comfortable or bless the meek. Nope. He's got his inverted beatitudes. He celebrates the rebels, the outcasts, the despisers, and the lonely. Anyone who has the guts to look at the old rules and say, nah, I'll make my own. It's a direct challenge to the kind of morality Mephistopheles relies on. So the jester shows up with a weapon, but it's not what you'd expect. It's not a sword. It's an idea, a philosophy. And it's the very key Wotan needs to break out of that cage. It's called amor fati. Amor fati. What does that even mean? Well, it's Latin for love of one's fate, but it's so much more than just putting up with things. It means you actively, joyfully embrace every single part of your life. The good, the bad, the ugly, the struggle. You wouldn't change a thing. Not forwards, not backwards, not for all of time. Okay, so this is how Wotan turns this idea into an actual weapon. Step 1, the aha moment. Wotan hears the Jester's message, and it clicks perfectly with that divine frenzy he's always had churning inside him. Step 2, the transformation. Suddenly, that endless struggle to create is no longer a gloomy task. It becomes a joyful burden. And that leads to step 3, freedom. You see, Mephistopheles' trap was built on making Wotan hate the struggle. But what happens when you learn to love it? The trap just shatters. It has no power over you anymore. And make no mistake, this isn't just Wotan having a good day or changing his perspective. This is a fundamental top-to-bottom transformation. This is his final apotheosis. He's becoming something else entirely.
What's happening inside him is called an atavistic eruption, which is a fancy way of saying a raw primal power is reawakening. This is the return of a master morality, a force that doesn't ask for permission and doesn't follow rules, it makes the rules. It's the kind of power that civilization thought it had buried and forgotten.
I mean, just look at the difference here. The change is absolute. Before, you had Wotan the monument. He was static, an idea trapped in a cage. And after, he is the lightning. He's pure action, a dynamic force of nature, a torch fueled by his own lifeblood. He's not an idea about power anymore. He's the event itself. And where this leaves us is, well, it's both incredible and kind of terrifying. He's not some lonely creator in a tower anymore. He has become a monster of the will, and his new purpose, the complete and utter annihilation of the old stagnant world and all of its values. So that's where we're left, with this one haunting question. A monument, which is supposed to be cold and permanent, has learned how to be a fire. So what happens now? What happens when a son is born in a world that has only ever known shadows?